Riter Radio is a BKR Media production.
Welcome to the morning meeting, everybody. Or should I say the whenever you decide to show up meeting?
I said the hip, hop, the hippie, the hippie, the hip, hip, hop, and you don't stop the rocket to the bang, bang, boogie, say yup, yup, the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what the hell is to the dish, to the ripping, to the beat? I mean, the groove, and my friend, you're gonna try to move your feet. See, I am on the move, and I'd like to say hello. I to the back, to the right, the red, and the blue, the purple, and yellow. But first I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie, say the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie.
That's cool. That's cool. I just cleared my throat thinking that the microphone was down. Like, right before I go on, I should clear my throat because it's a little scratchy. Woke up a little scratchy today. I exaggerated it there, but I woke up a little scratchy. And I meant to clear my throat, and I thought the mic was down. The mic was on the whole time. I don't know if I was singing along to the songs in the last 20 minutes, or I don't know what I've done. I do know that if you're watching the show on YouTube, it looked a little different. Huh? Can you tell who spent a little bit of time polishing things up there? It was me. It was me. I spent some time polishing some things up. So if you tune in on YouTube, it's going to look a little bit different today. It's going to looks a little awesome. I'm not done. I'm not done with modifying the way this whole product exists. The show being a product. But yeah, I decided. The show ended yesterday at, I think I went till 12:30-ish. And then by the time I was done with editing and posting and stuff, it was like, I don't know, 2? 1:30? Something like that. And then I had a text from Scott that said, podcast now, podcast now, podcast now. So we recorded a UB football podcast, which you can find somewhere. If you look for UB Bulls Insider, I believe that's been posted. I didn't check to confirm, but I believe that's been posted. So a full conversation about UB Bulls and UMass last week, UB Bulls and Akron this coming game. We did that. And then once I was done with that, and I had that edited and posted so it could air either yesterday or today, or post yesterday or today, then I just started messing around with the video stuff here for the show. And if you are looking at it right now, it looks like an entirely different show. Aside from the same stupid fat face and the same crap content, the vibe is different if you're looking at it. We had a whole open. I intentionally waited. Usually we get started, I say 10 o'clock, but I usually want to give it till like 10:02, 10:03, so that anybody who wants to catch the very beginning of the show is there. And today I pushed it back to like 10:06 or 7 because I wanted to make sure that anybody who was tuning in would see the exciting new open to the show. There's like a video open to the show. It's still an audio show primarily, but if I'm going to do video, I might as well do, what I can to polish it up. So now there's a fancy open. Like there's a countdown, numbers are spinning around, the radios or the Riter Radio logo's bouncing around. And then once it transitions into the actual show, it's not just me on a screen anymore. There's like a fancy box. I look like every other show in America, which isn't great. But here's what I'll say. Like any other project, I'm not very handy, but I do a lot of handyman type of stuff, as has been discussed on numerous occasions. I am still holding this bike tire that I right here that I have not yet. I haven't solved this yet because I have to go to Josh's house or something to make it work because I don't understand what a tire bead is or where the bead just has to go over the rim. As long as you get the bead on the rim, like, yeah, I don't know what the bead is, man. What do you mean on the rim? I mean, it's on the rim. Yeah, it's got to be really on the rim. You got to use a lever. I don't know what you're talking about. I have the levers. I still don't know what it means. Anyway, my goal with any project is to have it not draw attention to itself. Have it not look like I did it. That's the whole thing. That comes with, building a deck for the pool, or repairing siding, preparing a meal. I would like you to think that someone else did it, not me. I think I was thinking about this yesterday. I might have been like scrolling through Netflix or something, and I saw that show Master of None, which is the Aziz Ansari. I'm gonna call it a sitcom. It started as a sitcom. I don't totally understand what it became later on in the run of the series, but the show is called Master of None, which is clearly a play on Jack of all trades, Master of none. That is who I am. I was thinking about it. Like, I am all right at so many things. I'm bad at some stuff. I'm all right at lots of stuff. And I can't think of what I'm good at. Which kind of stinks. It's kind of hurtful. Been working on this skill set for 50 years. And I can't name the thing I'm good at, but pretty good at a lot of stuff. And I think I put together a pretty good little screen here, little look. And it's going to look different. Scott Wilson will be on. It's going to look different when Scott's on. We now have cartoon faces for Scott. Well, we already had that. And then we added Bob. And then yesterday we added Paul. Up next will be John Fuller. We're going to get cartoon faces to go with those. And now, I don't know, the screen looks better. And if you're watching, you might notice something a little bit different. I'm going to open up the Mixler chat because that's where people tend to talk. There is a chat in the YouTube thing. I've got to unify this whole thing. I've got to figure out a way to put it all together, and maybe that's one of the next. I won't say it's next, but it's one of the next things in the process is getting the chat thing kind of all in one place. Because I'm sitting here doing the show, and it's not until breaks typically where I see the messages that are coming in, but some are, texts to my regular phone number. Some are texts to the Riter Radio hotline, 716-288-5246. Those last four digits, by the way, are that's my Khalil Mack tribute. 5-2 is what he wears now. Had a sack, at least one sack last night. I didn't watch the whole game, but I did have it on in the background while I was working on doing this stuff for you. For you, I was working for you. And he had a sack, and he's got a captaincy on, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, and I know him, and it's awesome. So 52 is his pro number, 46, of course, his number at UB, and that's what that is. So when you go in to look for a phone number, try to find something catchy, and that was the best I could do was, hey, those are Khalil Mack's numbers. So I put it together. The other thing you'll notice if you tune in on YouTube as opposed to just the audio version is that I am dressed far more fancily than I normally am. I don't remember why rugby shirts came up in conversation yesterday, but I was talking about how I kind of miss them. I like rugby shirts, and I've got some in my closet. And then I looked it up, and I discovered that as recently as like 2 weeks ago, there was an article in GQ talking about how rugby shirts are back. And if there's one fashion thing that I miss from my, adolescence, let's say, junior high, high school, college, like that era, I don't miss everyone walking around in flannel shirts and cargo shorts and boots thinking they were in Pearl Jam. I don't miss that. I don't miss any of that. I didn't mind it. It was fun at the time. We enjoyed it. Got no problem with it. But I'm not yearning for that to come back. Man, I think life would be better if I could wear flannel again. I mean, obviously you can wear flannel, but like if that was the thing, everybody walks around looking like they're heading to a coffee shop in Seattle, hungover from last night's gig, getting ready for the next gig. I don't miss that. I do miss rugby shirts. So we started talking about them, and we were talking about what's the difference. Oh, no, actually, this was off air, talking about the difference between rugby shirt and polo shirt. My guess was hardier material, stiffer collar rubber buttons, like these buttons right here. Oh yeah, if you're not watching, I found my rugby shirts. I went up. I do in fact own 3, to my knowledge. There might be more buried somewhere, but like hanging in the closet, in the spot that I haven't touched in a while, I found 3 rugby shirts. One of them happened to be the exact same colors as the theme of the show. I'm going red, white, and blue, but it's like a dark blue, so it's not overtly a flag, but it's not overtly the Bills. But it's got blue. Like all the teams I talk about have blue in them. I went with a darker blue than the rest, but it's still blue. But my God, I brought the 3. I've got 2 more of them hanging right over there. I think, I know why this started. This started, well, actually, I'm just connecting it to a different part of the conversation, but I have grown tired of sitting down to do the show, which used to be audio only, but because of this demand to see me every morning, for whatever reason, I'm doing this video thing. And so I'm on camera, and it seems like every day I sit down and I'm wearing the same shirt I was wearing on the show the day before. And that's not just because I'm filthy. Yesterday was a perfect example. Yesterday, I sat down to do the show and went, I was wearing this yesterday. Now, I had put the shirt on right before the show because the previous, on Wednesday, I was wearing the same shirt as Tuesday. So, Wednesday, I finished the show. I ended up doing something on Wednesday night. So I took a shower, but my shirt was super clean because I had just put it on to do the show. So I just put it back on. And the next thing you know, you wake up, oh, look, I'm in front of a camera with the same shirt on. And I said it helps explain the public school uniform, or not public, but private school uniform thing, where you just take all thought of fashion out of the equation. We're not competing. We don't have to think about this every day. I've heard this about geniuses. I apologize if I'm not attributing this to the correct, well thought of individual, but like Steve Jobs, black turtleneck every day. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but along those lines. Like, I don't have time to think about this. This is what I wear. I wear the same thing every day, so I don't have to think about that ever. And that started to appeal to me. I do the show in the basement. There are often clothes in the basement, either because I did laundry and folded it and it's just sitting in a basket and I haven't taken it upstairs, or I've got a suitcase that's half packed, like still kind of packed from the last trip. There are always, not always, there are usually options laying around. So if I'm wearing a T-shirt and I realize 10 seconds before I'm going on the air I need a different T-shirt, I've got one within 20 feet of me somewhere, usually. Except when I was gone, when I was out of town, I don't know, this past weekend, I was at UMass. My wife decided to clean up all clothing everywhere from everybody and organize it. And that means she doesn't keep clothes in the basement. So all my clothes went upstairs. So I had a couple days in a row where I looked at myself. I was going on the air in a couple minutes, and I was wearing the same thing I was wearing yesterday, and I didn't want to do that. And I thought, well, what if I did want to do that? Wouldn't it be better? What if I went, for a while there, Louis C.K. every time he was on stage, it was black T-shirt and jeans every single time. I don't know if it's the same one from yesterday or if he's got a new one, if he's got, if he changes his shirt 6 times, but it's always a black T-shirt and you never have to think about it. And then, I don't know, that combined with the conversation about rugby shirts. Then I go upstairs, I find my 3 rugby shirts. And this one, honestly, I feel like the fact that the colors are the same as the whole setup tells me maybe each show should end by me standing up, taking off this shirt, hanging it up right behind me, and then walking away. It's like Mr. Rogers' sweater. This shirt could be my Mr. Rogers sweater. So this might be what the show looks like every day from now on. Me in this shirt. Till it falls apart. But it won't, because it's a rugby shirt. It's designed for me to be getting tackled. It should have grass stains on it. It won't. But I started looking up rugby shirts online today. I found a LA vintage store that had 25 rugby shirts for $175. But they were mixed sizes, and I bet none of them would fit me. And also, it was sold out. But I will, before today is over, I believe I will make an online purchase of at least one rugby shirt. Because I think I want to bring these things back in real life. But I think I want this one to be my uniform for the show. It's like Blue's Clues. He had a rugby shirt. Everybody. I even recognized it. I don't know that show well. I'm aware it existed, but I wasn't young enough for it, and I didn't have kids yet, so whatever. But when I looked up rugby shirts yesterday, I saw a picture of one, and somebody went, Blue's Clues. I was like, oh, yeah. And then I even thought, Steve? I think his name is Steve? I'm not positive. But the bottom line is, it worked fine there. So it worked for Blue's Clues, worked for Louis C.K., works for Catholic school, works for nuns, works for priests, works for judges, works for baseball players. Uniform. Who knew? Self-imposed uniform. I'm not being told I have to do it. I think it might make sense just for me. And I think the show looks better when my shirt matches the stuff that's surrounding me. And the stuff that's surrounding me clearly looks way better than it did yesterday. And wait till you see. Keep watching. I'm trying to direct people to the YouTube feed by spicing it up. And I think I have sufficiently spiced it up. If you missed the beginning of the show, now you got to wait till Monday to see the Open? That's probably not true. I'm so happy with how it looked that I'll probably play it again. I'll probably do the countdown again at least once between now and noon. Maybe at 11, right? Maybe right before Scott comes on. That sounds good. Right before Scott comes on, we'll do the countdown again. But also, along with that, sorry, I didn't finish saying this. I basically sat in this chair from the last time we spoke. I was here with you until 12:30, and then I recorded with Scott. Or then I edited stuff and posted it, and then I recorded with Scott, and then I just started messing around with the look of the show. And I end up in this chair. I didn't stay here. I mean, I hung out with my kids and my wife, and we ate dinner and things like that. But every free minute I had from the show yesterday through about 3 o'clock in the morning was spent making the show look and sound and feel better. For example, all right. I always say I don't want the show just to be about the show, but that's kind of what it's about. The show's about the show as it grows. Eventually it grows to a point where we don't talk about the show on the show. The show is just the show. But for now, a big part of the show is what's going on with the show. Is that fair? It's brought to you by Brian Janik of thefinancialguys.com. Independent insurance broker, 20-plus years experience. You don't even pay him. You just talk to him. He helps you out, especially if you're approaching 65. That's like the specialty. That's his wheelhouse. If you're about to hit Medicare, you don't know how to do it. He knows how to do it, and he doesn't charge you. So why would you not call Brian Janik? Look for him along with the Financial Guys at thefinancialguys.com. So every day when the show starts, I play music in advance, and then I've got 3 different things I have to hit. I hit what's called fanfare brass on my screen. Bum, ba, ba. That's the thing that notifies you, hey, it's about to be live. No more pre-recorded crap. No more, music. Here comes the show. I play that. Then I play the Kermit thing. As soon as I hit the Kermit thing, I hit a thing called All Right, which is the music bed that plays under it quietly. Then as the Kermit thing ends, I have to hit the Swedish Chef thing. And then the Swedish Chef thing ends, and then I hope that the beat matches up at least okay as the All Right music fades up. And then I turn it on. Forever, I've been thinking, you could just put those all together so you hit one button and then it all happens at once. So I did that, which I'm good with. That's audio editing. That I've been doing since college when we were doing it on actual tape with razor blades and Scotch tape and So it goes back a while. When I started in radio, we edited with razor blades. We don't do that anymore. There was some very senior year, we dabbled a little bit in digital editing. It was like, wow, this is very high tech. And now it's just obviously the norm, but that was 1995. So yeah, 30 years later, the technology it's better. It's definitely improved. What was my point? Oh, so I edited all this stuff together, and then I was like, well, how does it work because the process of the podcast, process of the show is it's audio, and I just turn a microphone on. or excuse me, a camera on, basically. I think about the audio, and then I turn a camera on. And I was thinking about building the open for the show with the audio, but I thought that's not going to work because I'm not feeding the audio from where the video is. So I had to do a silent video thing, and there's no way to just sync it up. So now my process, instead of having to hit fanfare brass, bum, ba, ba, followed by Kermit, hey you guys, whatever he says, and then starting the all right music, and then also hitting the Swedish Chef, while also making sure the camera's on and being ready to start a show. Instead of all that, now I just hit one button, it does all that audio stuff, but I have to sync it up with the video myself. So it's now a manual process. Do you want to, you know what? I can't not do this. I'm going to, hold on. We're going to do this. I'm going to restart. So I'm positive we've got way more people right now than we had at 10:06. Through the various channels, the YouTube, it's particularly the YouTube. If you're not watching the YouTube, you should get there. I'm going to show it to you now. I have to. I'm so excited about it. It's a new toy. You know, when somebody gets a new car, I'm going to drive over and show you my new car. Like, yep, new car. Looks like a new car. You don't care. I know you don't care, but just fake it for me. Fake some excitement. Fake it for me, baby. Will you please? All right. I have to switch this to this. No, to this. All right. So this is what the show looked like before it started. Nothing going on. We're just hanging out. Right? We're just waiting. It's getting close to 10 o'clock. Oh, it must be close because the song Friday by Joe Jackson just played. And Brad always plays that on Friday because, well, you know why. It's Friday. That's why. So what I have to do now, I'm gonna do the thing. So I'm gonna hit the audio. The second I hit the audio, I have to hit this crossfade button so that the countdown video starts. And then it's supposed to sync up basically closely to when like the drum kicks in, the Riter Radio logo slams you in the face. It like jumps on there after the countdown. And then I swap it in and I appear on video again. So this is just for you. This is for those of you who didn't get here for the start. I promise not to do this more than 3 more times during this show. Like we're already approaching 10 o'clock, or 10:30 rather. So I don't mind doing it now, bottom of the hour. Scott will be on at 11. We'll do it then too. But I want you to see it. I want you to see the cool new open. All right, here it comes. So if you're only listening, that's fine. It'll sound normal. But I do recommend the YouTube feed. Even just to see my shirt, to see how perfectly the shirt that was already in my closet upstairs. I mean, I don't even remember getting this. So I've had this, I don't know. Not high school. It can't be high school because it's 2X. And I don't think I wore 2X in high school. But it could be any time from college on that I've got this shirt. And I've got 2 more over there, one of which I like better than this one. But this one is just too perfect for the show. I look just like my screen, man. How cool is that? Okay, here's how it goes. Let's pretend that the song Friday by Joe Jackson just ended. You get paid on Friday, 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 Friday. I'm fading. Friday, Friday, Friday. Let me go like this. Oh, come on. I don't have the volume up. Let's try it again. She gets paid on Friday, 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 Friday. Riter Radio is a... No, not loud enough. Cut. When we did it live, it was fine. Now I'm trying to recreate the live thing, and I'm terrible at it. All right, this is what I'm trying to show you, though. This is difficult. This is the stuff that's in my head all day. Not the content of the show. This is just the show, like the structure of the show. Just doing the structure of the show. Is this complex and confusing, at least to my small brain? All right, here we go. Friday, 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 Friday.
Riter Radio is a BKR.
I screwed it up. I was concentrating on that, and I forgot to hit. I have to hit that, and then hit the other one immediately, or we don't get close. Try it again. Friday, 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 Friday.
Riter Radio is a BKR media production.
Welcome to the morning meeting, everybody. Or should I say the whenever you decide to show up meeting?
I said the hip, hop, the hippie, the hippie, the hip, hip, hop, and you don't stop the rocket to the bang, bang, boogie, say, yup, yup, the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie, the beat. Now what the hell is to the dish, I'm ripping to the beat. I'm in the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. See, I am on the move, and I'd like to say hello. I to the back, to the right, and the blue, the purple, and yellow. But first I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie, say, yup, yup, the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie.
You gotta admit that's pretty cool, right? I mean, if you're like a graphic artist and you do this all the time, that's probably not anything. But I gotta say, man, for not knowing what I'm doing, as far as that part is concerned, pretty good. Pretty big upgrade there. Big enough that I ordered a light last night. Like, well, this part's set up. This is good. And now I'm concerned about, oh, my face is too shadowy. I busted out these, I put them, where did I put them? I've got these things, these lights that hang that I don't know what I'm doing with yet. They might go up there to kind of, because there's a light right there. There's a fluorescent light. Actually, one of the bulbs is half out. Maybe that's part of the problem. Might have a replacement for that, and I don't have to think about this. But I've got these lights. I wasn't going to hang them up yet because I'm not positive I want them here. But I tried out this morning putting them under my face. Check this out. Sorry that I'm catering to the video crowd today. But I'm trying to push you in that direction anyway. Audio's fine. But this is the future, man. Video is the future. All right, so if I plug this in. All right, so now these turn on, and that's what it would look like with just, they're white right now, but there's a remote for them. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see what it looks like if I turn that light off. Ooh. There's no audio. There's no audio. There's no audio because the other thing was plugged in there too. There's no audio. There's no audio. Come back, audio. So when I flipped the switch to turn the light off, I also turned off my audio interface device. All right. Now I'm going to try it the other way. I'm going to unplug. There we go. That way. So we could do this. This would be like when Josh was on yesterday. Uncle Josh's True Scary Stories. This kind of looks like that. We can change colors on it, I think. I don't know where to... Oh, there we go. We can go green. I don't know what we would do with this, but it's an option. Ah, it's red. Blue, scary. Kind of scary. Kind of what? Kind of night vision? Oh, wait. If it was green, it'd feel like Silence of the Lambs. No, that's not it. No. Better? What else can we do with this? I don't really... Ah! That looks like I'm on fire or something. I think I should plug the light back in and get back to the show. It's fun to know what's going on, though, right? Okay. See, this is what happens when you cater to the video side. This is the Generette problem I was telling you about. Or I shouldn't blame Generette. He's a radio guy, and then they put him on TV. What's he supposed to do? He probably didn't really change that much. The only thing, well... All right. Hold on. Now that's on the floor. If I don't get it now, I'll step on it. So anyway, I put some thought into the show and put some effort into the look of the show. And so far, so good. I mean, that said, we're 36 minutes in. There's been no actual content. And I apologize for that, but it's my show, man. What do you want from me? What you want? So what you want? All right. What do I have written down? Oh, speaking of visuals, we yesterday got... So I talked a couple days ago about how middle school picture day was happening and the kids were mad at my wife because she wanted them to look okay. She wanted them to dress like this. If they had rugby shirts, they would have looked awesome, right? But for kids who go to school in nothing but T-shirts and hoodies, they hate picture day. It ruins their life because for one day they have to wear like a golf shirt, a.k.a. polo shirt. That's how this started. That is how this started, the rugby shirt thing. We're talking about getting dressed and golf shirt and how people, I think of it as a golf shirt, but people call it a rugby or a polo. But I don't know anybody who plays polo, but everybody plays golf and they all wear that shirt, so I think of it as a golf shirt. But you know what I'm talking about. And then we started talking about rugby shirts. Then I remembered I love rugby shirts. Then I remembered I have rugby shirts. Then I looked it up to see if rugby shirts are cool right now. It turns out they are. Like this month, they're cool. Like right now. GQ said it on October 4th or 6th or something. So this is not just me making it up. This is me having such a keen sense of fashion that I knew just in my soul that it was time for rugby shirts to return. So the fact that I own this one that looks the same as the background for the show, and I can hang it up like Mr. Rogers' sweater, this might be the look from now on. I also might forget about this by Monday and not do it at all. But I'm just throwing it out there that this, you might have to get used to this. In the chat, Jay Miller, YouTube looks good. Sponsorship by Tommy Hilfiger rugby shirts. I did think of that. I did think of just making this entire show about rugby shirts. I don't know how popular that would be. I mean, in the podcast world, you're looking for a niche audience. You just got to crush it. And there's probably not a rugby shirt podcast, but I don't have a ton to say. I mean, everything I know about rugby shirts I've learned in the last 24 hours through just Google searches and Wikipedia. So I can't pretend to be an expert on it. I just can say that I look a lot better than I usually do. We would all have to agree. Wife, do I look a lot better than I usually do? Thumbs up? Thumbs up. She says thumbs up. She just came down here. I don't know why she came down here, but she was going back up. And so I called her wife. She has a name. Her name's not wife. I promise. But she said thumbs up. It's not going to get me anywhere. Nothing positive will come of this. Yeah, you look good, dumbass. She's going back upstairs to do her job. She works up there. She works up there. I work down here. We work in the same building on different floors. Do you work with your wife? Sort of. We run into each other at lunchtime sometimes. It's like my two kids that go to middle school. Yeah, they're in the same school, but they don't see each other ever, except maybe at lunch. That's kind of our day-by-day situation here. So yesterday, the youngest came home. So elementary school pictures were 2 weeks ago, let's say. Middle school were just 2 days ago, but elementary. So we got the pictures. And they don't just send them home anymore. Now you get the digital thing. So it came by email. First of all, congratulations to our youngest son for probably in the second time in his life not making a goofy face. It's just a nice, pleasant, hey, Drew looks like a nice kid, smile. He did wear what I would call golf, others would call polo shirt for his picture, buttoned all the way to the top, like Uncle Bill. I know that means nothing to anybody else. It means something to me and to a few of us. But yeah, he went full Uncle Bill with the golf shirt button to the top, but it looks good on him. Drew is like a little fashion king. Whatever he wears looks good. It's weird. He dresses like a dummy often. He just piles layers and accessories like he's Prince. Like the kind of Joe Burrow, kind of Allen Iverson, kind of Prince. He's just got his own kind of swagger to him. Wears his hat way up on top of his head. Sometimes with a do-rag under it now. He wears 3 necklaces. Oh, I didn't think of that. That is one nice thing about him going full Uncle Bill and buttoning the shirt to the top, is that his 3 necklaces that I told him not to wear that day, but he wore anyway, he said he'd cover them with the shirt. He did. I saw the pictures. I didn't think about the necklaces. Anyway, the point of the pictures is now, instead of just a picture, like when I think of school portraits, I still picture, it's either the blue background or, the one year they had the lasers, or the one year they had, I don't know, a wooded background because it was fall. I don't know, like that kind of stuff. Well, now it's all digital, of course. So they just take a picture, probably in front of a green screen, maybe green, maybe black, who knows. But then they send it to you, and you've got your choice of, like, I don't know, 30, 40 different backgrounds. Drew is wearing a plain orange polo shirt, buttoned to the top like Uncle Bill. Collar down, just chill. Look good. Regular backgrounds look like a totally normal picture, but one of the backgrounds is him in front of an American flag. And it was by far my favorite picture. And I don't think we'll order it. But, oh no, hold on. All right. I'm going to finish. I'm now discovering that when I shut off the sound, on that stream, and I can't do a sound check. YouTube is the place to be. I'm in the middle of finishing a story. I'm going to finish the story, and then I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to solve the problem. I will fix momentarily. A little kid in an orange shirt standing in front of an American flag makes him look like an astronaut, is the point I'm trying to get at. He looked very much like Neil Armstrong, or particularly John Glenn. I immediately thought of John Glenn when I saw the picture, but it's kind of great. And I kind of think that's the one we should get. But we probably won't. But it was awesome. And I mentioned it to a friend who then used AI to create a picture of Drew as an astronaut in front of a flag like John Glenn. And it was awesome. I'm going to play a song. I'm going to fix the audio for the... why am I'm telling you. If you're watching on YouTube, everything's fine. If you're listening on the Mixler thing, the audio went out when I shut off the light and accidentally shut off the whole damn system. And I never reset it. So I'm going to play a song, and then we'll come back. I loaded up a bunch of new songs for today, too. Many of them mellow 80s type of songs. Many of them not. I'll be back in a few. Scott Wilson joins me at 11. You're listening to episode 195 of Riter Radio. Man, if you thought the Joe Jackson content on this, or the Beck content, or the Beastie Boys content was excessive, I apologize for what's about to happen, but I just, last night, in the process of, again, improving the show, I spent the whole day just working on stuff to make the show better, including this shirt. I ordered a new light. It'll shine from there. It's going to clip to the desk over there. And it sticks way out, and I can point it. I don't know. It gets rid of, because look, see, it's bad enough, like, I've got bags under my eyes, so I don't really mind the darkness right here, but the light's coming from there. So see how dark it is if I turn my face like this, but if I go up like that, then it lights up. I don't hate the darkness, but I'm working on the overall vibe. I think it's working. So far, so good. My shirt matches the thing. Let me know. So we've got the chat that's been going since day one, or day 101, I guess, in the Mixler app. And that's where the vast majority of the real-time communication has taken place for the show. But there's one on YouTube also. There's a live chat on the YouTube stream. And I can't pay attention to both. And I think the direction we're heading is the YouTube thing. So I would recommend, if you want to be a part of the live chat, figure out YouTube. I'm going to keep doing the Mixler thing. I checked yesterday. I paid for that for a year. So there's no reason to not put it there. But there is some thought to maybe doing the show directly on YouTube and having that feed the Mixler feed instead of what I'm doing right now, which is doing them individually. I got to figure it out. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to it. like technological. Everything's doable. You just can't do everything. Anything is possible, but everything isn't possible. I guess that's a good way to put it. This connects to the conversation we had the other day about fixing things around the house. It's like, yes, I can fix anything, but I have to stop everything else that I do to figure out how to do it and dedicate my life to that. And if that's my sole task, I'll get it done. And that's kind of the way it is with this show. There are a million things, any of which can be accomplished, but I can't accomplish all of them. I'm pulling on, I don't like how that sleeve looks. I pull on the wrong sleeve because I'm looking at it. It's not a mirror. It's real time. Right is left, left is right. Okay, we're good. Scott Wilson's going to join us coming up in a few minutes. Big sports weekend, massive sports weekend. Obviously, the Bills play at Carolina on Sunday. 2-game losing streak, followed by a bye, followed by a game that panic is going to kick in if the Bills don't do their job. And I think people are craving like a beatdown type of win from this Bills team as we're watching these power rankings, NFL power rankings that happen. And suddenly the Bills they're not first or second or third anymore. They're 8th or ninth. In what world are the Bills the 8th or ninth best team? I don't know. The one where they lose to Carolina this week. Then I would believe it. But I think there's an appetite in Western New York for the Bills to just go throttle the Panthers. I don't know that it'll happen, but I wouldn't rule it out, especially if they're getting their 2 suspended defensive players that they added. They're big free agent acquisitions. They added 3 fairly big-name guys on the D-line, and only one of them has played. And he's stayed healthy so far. Fingers crossed. Joey Bosa's been pretty good. Been very good in moments, and that's kind of all I'm looking for. Hasn't been a disaster and hasn't been hurt yet. So that's pretty cool. So now they're going to field this team. Got good news on Max Hairston finally coming, going into his 2-week practice window. So we could expect, either 2 weeks from now, the Bills have Hairston to add, their number 1 draft pick at corner, or we find out he's just out for the year. But one of those 2 things will happen in the next couple weeks. But they should have, to the best of my knowledge, Ogunjobi and Hoyt back on the D-line this week. And it's not like they've been hurt and they're coming back. They've been hanging out. They've been practicing. They're in shape. They're ready to go. So that should be should make a massive difference. They certainly believed it when they signed them. And they knew that one of them was suspended. I think Ogunjobi didn't know about Hoyt, or vice versa. I don't want to lay blame here. But they just decided, we're okay with it, I guess. What else are we going to do? I guess you could have been real jerks and made it like a breach of contract because you didn't tell us or something. But no, it's not true, because whichever one it was that came in and said, hey, by the way, I'm getting suspended, he didn't sign until after that. So they knew. So they haven't publicly acted like they were mad at the 2 guys that they signed. And they brought them in anticipating that they would help with the problems that they were having on defense last year that have rolled into this year. So while I think collectively Western New York is very concerned about the Bills' defense so far, they're playing without 6 or 7 starters most of the time. 5 or 6. I shouldn't say 6 or 7, but like the lineup that Brandon Beane anticipated seeing on the field to start does not even remotely resemble the one that's been out there. And a big part of their D-line is the depth and rotation and keeping guys fresh. They get to do that better now with the addition of the players that they brought in to help them. So I'm excited about that. That's one of the games this weekend. So the Bills play. The UB Bulls play. They're in action tomorrow at home against Akron. 1 o'clock kickoff, 12 o'clock pregame on the Bet 1520 with me and Scott Wilson and Paul Peck and John Fuller. And the coach and the athletic director and some of the players. Lots of stuff happens on the pregame show. But it's Kids Day, too. I think my kids are going. All kinds of stuff set up in the field house in advance for them. Scott Wilson promised a magician. I haven't seen the official list of events there. But that's what he promised. I'm going to text Scott and tell him just call me. Bear with me. This is, rather than me taking a break to call Scott, I'm just pausing for a second to say, call me whenever you're ready. Then when Scott calls in, then we'll just do the thing. That does take away from the ability to play the Open again, the new YouTube Open. But we'll do it one more time before the show ends. And then also every day forever. So don't worry too much about that. So it's Bills Bulls World Series tonight in Toronto. Game 1 tonight in Toronto. Game 2 tomorrow night in Toronto. You know what else is going on Toronto-wise is that the Sabres are playing the Leafs both nights. So both nights, both tonight and tomorrow night, we've got Sabres-Leafs. Tonight is in Buffalo. Tomorrow's in Toronto. But also both nights, we've got Dodgers at Blue Jays, games 1 and 2 of the World Series. My buddy sent me a thing about how cheap tickets are for the Leafs tomorrow. It's a 5 p.m. game, 5 p.m. hockey game down the street or almost across the road from an 8 p.m. World Series game. And that reminded me that at one point I went to a Leafs game while there was a Game 7 going on down the street, and the Leafs game was sparsely attended. I looked it up last night. I saw Pedro Martinez against Roy Halladay in a 3/4 empty, 4/5 empty Skydome at the time, because down the street it was Leafs Senators Game 7. People didn't want to be around for the baseball game. I went to the baseball game. They were right. The Leafs ended up winning. The Jays lost to the Red Sox. Martinez got the win. Halladay got the loss. I looked it up. It was 2004, April 20th, I think, 2004. But Game 7, and so it's the same type of thing. And there are cheap tickets. If you want to drive to Toronto to watch the Sabres play at Scotiabank Place, Scotiabank Center, tomorrow's the day to do it. It'll be cheap. All right. Scott called, so now I got to play the Scott thing, and then we'll talk to Scott. Here comes the Scott thing.
Let's check in with Riter Radio's senior football correspondent, Scott Wilson.
And here comes Scott. What's up, man?
Let's do it.
How are you?
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
What's the get-in price on the World Series?
$1,500 was the cheapest I saw. That was a couple days ago. I haven't looked recently, but I can do that while you say hello. What's going on with you?
Well, I'll say hello. I'm excited. Another weekend here at college football. UB's got a big game at home against Akron, looking to stay undefeated in the MAC. And I read today that as of right now, college football is on its way, is projected right now to have its closest margin of victory in the last 20 years.
Just average game, like across the board? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That would fit with what we've been seeing, huh?
Yeah. It's an exciting year in college football. It's an exciting year for UB football. So yeah, it's easy to get excited when it doesn't really matter who's playing. Every game so far has ended up pretty close or in overtime. Even some of the games, these weekday games, Conference USA has had this week that I've tuned in and am one of the degenerates actually watching the game. They're going to overtime. They're like all of them. So it's across the country. It's a good year for football.
What does that mean for betting? Is that was that a part of it? Because I would think close games means just take underdogs. Any word on that? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but that's the first thing I thought of. Is if every game is close, that means take the points, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't read anything about it having any impact on the whole main thing of the article was more of is this the new normal because of the NIL and transfer portal? It was more taking a look at the effect of, and I think it's fair to say everybody just assumed now that money is getting involved that all of the regulars are going to just continue to pound everybody, and it's actually been quite the opposite. You're seeing teams like Texas Tech in the top 10, Vanderbilt in the top 10, hosting this weekend a 5-star quarterback from the state of Georgia. That's new. That's something that doesn't normally happen. And some of these smaller places are able to put up a fight now, where everything else kind of used to have to be underground, and if you were a big enough school, you kind of got to skate by. I mean, Texas A&M gave Eric Dickerson a gold Trans Am but it was SMU that got the death penalty.
Right.
So, now that everybody has kind of been being able to get out there on the front foot, it has evened things up. It's even the rosters up. It's even the level of talent up across the board. So there's a lot closer game. There's a little bit more parity.
Do you think it's interesting that SMU has not yet been executed despite being in Texas when it comes to the death penalty? Because they're still around.
Yeah,
That's
they're still there.
sort of a misunderstanding of what the death penalty really is, don't you think?
Yeah, it's probably the wrong term for it.
Because they're alive.
But they're very much alive. But it took them a long time to get back.
And a lot of appeals, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it took them a long time to get out.
So apparently at, I'm going to call it Sky Dome because I keep screwing it up, Rogers Center, there's a general admission situation. So there are tickets.
Standing room?
Well, they all list seat numbers. It says general admission, and then it says seats. And I don't know, maybe there's an area of general admission. I remember this existing at the Odd for a while. No, but that was standing room. I've never seen general admission seats at a game, but they're all listed as like seats 7 through 12, seats 9 through 14, seats 5 and 6. Oh, no, that's a different one. But general admission, you're in about the $600 range. If you would like to just get in the door with a general admission ticket right now, courtesy of StubHub, $607 is the cheapest I've seen. The cheapest I've seen for seats, I put in that I wanted 2. I don't. I'm not going. It was to sit in the upper deck, front row, way out in right field, and that's $1,368 per ticket. And it's rated as a 9.8 amazing deal, which seems crazy to me, but not as crazy as the next one, which is Section 31. These are very good seats. Section 31, row 5. So about 5 rows back and about even with third base. They list this as 8.8 amazing. The price per ticket is $5,825. Now, that doesn't mean anybody's getting it, but that's what it's listed as. And it's listed as an amazing deal. That game is on television, sir, in both nations, I would think. I assume Canada is going to televise the World Series. I kind of went into this yesterday, and I'd like your opinion on it. I don't know. I don't even know the answer to this for myself, but there's a certain price that I'm just not paying to go anywhere. And I would spend a lot more for a concert or even maybe a stand-up comedian, but like a live performance, a musical. Hamilton comes to town, whatever. A live performance, because in sports, I'm going there and I'm rooting for one team, so there's like a 50% give or take chance that I'm not going to be happy with my purchase anyway, because it's not going to go my way. And also the game is on television every time, and the concerts never are. Where are you on exorbitant prices for tickets? Have you ever gone all in on yes, I need to attend this game or this concert, and how do they differ? That is the longest question I've ever asked, only to find out that the call dropped. That sucks. I want to rewind that and play it because I spoke for so long. And he was gone for so long that he texted saying he's trying to get back in, but it's busy.
Hello.
That was the longest question I've ever asked. And then as I finished, I looked down and saw the thing shut off. And then, obviously, you were gone for the whole time because you had already tried calling back multiple times, and you were gone. Here, I'm going to give the short version of what I was saying. The cheapest ticket to get in is $607. That's general admission. There's something listed
My
as...
favorite general.
Yeah, that guy's good. Something that's listed as they rate the prices. 9.8 amazing price here for row A in the upper deck in right field, like you're hoping for just a left-hand hitter to hit a bomb to you. Listed as amazing. $1,368 per seat. But then also listed under that, row 5 right behind third base. Listed as 8.8 amazing deal. $5,825 per seat. I can't imagine those are going to sell for that, but you never know. That's where we are. And then I went into this whole thing. Are you still there, Scott? I want to make sure you're still there before I do it again.
I'm here.
Went into this whole thing about how those games are going to be on television. I can't imagine shelling it out for multiple reasons. One is you go to a sporting event, 50-50 chance-ish that your team's not going to win, so you're not going to be happy anyway, so you're not going to be happy with the money you spent. You're not even going to have a good time. And then the other one is if this is like a concert or even a musical coming to town, a live performance, a stand-up comic, whatever it is, that's a live thing. That's the only way to see it. You know, so-and-so's coming to town. This is the only chance I get to see Paul McCartney. I'm going to spend the money because he's going to die soon, and this is my last chance. That's not the case. This game is on TV in both countries. And then I went on to ask you your thoughts on that, concert ticket prices versus sporting event prices, if you're more willing to pay one than the other, if you've got any one incident where you said, screw it, I'm paying all this money. Like, has that happened to you? And I asked that whole, like, I dragged it out twice as long as that, which is why you were calling me back and it wasn't working, because I was formulating this amazing 3-minute question. But here we are. It's your turn to talk.
No. No, never happened. Never happened to me.
All right. We'll talk to you later, man.
I think that I would probably be more willing to shell out for a sporting event, but I could probably be pushed on a musical situation. I'm a big Dave Matthews fan.
Yes.
If you told me you could, there was a definite end date to that,
Like farewell tour
show.
Yeah.
A definite last show. I think that I'm probably going to be in on that, no matter what the case is. You know, there could be, if you told me the Beatles were getting back together, like they're dragging the corpses out. Yeah. All, they're putting the coffins on stage.
We've got the technology for that.
Right. We, maybe that's a maybe, but well,
the closest
I in retrospect, there are some shows I wish that I had shelled out. So I wish, we've talked about them a lot this year, but I wish that I had gone to a Billy Joel show.
Yeah.
The number of times that I had the opportunity, like theoretically could have gone, and I just never did. And I wish that I had spent that money and gone. Now, I don't need to sit in the best seats.
Right, but you can at least check it off so that when somebody's like, you ever see Billy Joel live? You're like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen, I like being able to check some things off. I like that I have seen George Clinton and the P-Funk.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Where was that?
I like, he did a Thursday in the Square.
That's immediately what I thought of, but I must not have gone for some reason, because I would remember seeing them for sure.
I like that the 1 or 2. You didn't go for on UB trips. What, 1 year or 2 years?
2.
One of those 2 years, when we played against UMass, we stayed in Boston because we were playing UMass in Foxborough, and we got to see the Who.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Do the Quadrophenia tour, and obviously they end with all the hits, but they played through that Quadrophenia album and then did that. I was never a big Who fan, but I know the hits, and I appreciate their spot in history, and had no, I like doing that. As far as just somebody that I would empty the bank account for, I would be much more likely to do that, I think, for, the Rose Bowl or something like that than I would be for some type of musical act.
Okay. What about Super Bowl? Is it only college?
My son and I had a conversation about this a couple weeks ago, and it was him saying, would you rather, the Giants are in the Super Bowl, would you rather get tickets to see the Giants in the Super Bowl, or would you rather see a Yankees Game 7 at home?
Ooh.
And my answer was the Yankees game, because the environment is much better.
Well, it's a Yankees environment.
Much better.
Yeah.
Right. As opposed to the Super Bowl, which is just turned into a corporate event at this point.
Well, Super Bowl to me seems like going to watch a football game at a Tully's in Minnesota. Like that's it's just very generic.
Yeah.
And half the people are rooting for. I'm sorry. A third of the people are rooting. A third of the people are rooting for one team. A third are rooting for the other team, and most of the people don't care. You know,
And yeah,
third of the
Rob
people
Lowe,
don't care. Yeah.
Rob Lowe has great seats with an NFL hat on.
With
Yeah.
the logo and the tag, the NFL logo and a
Yeah.
tag. Yeah.
Right. So
Have you been to playoff baseball?
I've never been to a playoff baseball game. No, I've been playoff hockey. I've been playoff NFL.
It's funny. I kind of forgot until you're talking about the Yankees thing, and I remember now. In 2007, I went to 2 games. I went to games 3 and 4 of the ALCS in Cleveland, Boston at Cleveland, and the Tribe won both of those games. But the Red Sox went on to win the series and went on to win the World Series that year, beating Colorado in a sweep. But that was theoretically incredible. I was there, and I was in Cleveland, and I was rooting for the Red Sox, but, like, not hard, because I didn't mind. I like Cleveland. I like Cleveland as a city. I like the
Cleveland
stadium.
at the time was probably still the affiliate for the Bisons.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, like, against them. I didn't hate them. But the team I was rooting for didn't win, but I was there for the home team winning, which makes it a lot better. Like, if I'm a hardcore, like, I'd love to go see the Bills beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead in a playoff game. Like, that sounds awesome. I would hate, though, to watch the Bills lose to the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Like, that would not make it cool. Like,
right.
Whereas for this one, I wanted the Red Sox to win, but they didn't, and it was okay because it was a super fun party. I didn't dress in Red Sox gear. I just hung out and assimilated. But that was awesome. Went to 2 of those games, and it was super cool because I went with Nick Mendola. He got the tickets, and I was able to go to both games. And then 2 people, the Koziels actually went to the first one with us, and then they swapped out. Me and Nick stayed in Cleveland, and then Dan Cave and Dan Sontag came down, and they went to the second one with us, games 3 and games 4. But that was fun. And the day of game 4, just sat in an Irish pub with Mendola as we watched, like, Dan Shaughnessy walk by, and I think Nick went out and yelled his name, and he turned around and he looked. But, like, it was cool. Like, it was a fun experience being around a championship city. And I imagine, from all I've seen, heard, and read, that Toronto is just a zoo right now. So much so that the Sabres are playing the Maple Leafs back-to-back nights, and nobody really cares.
Right. Now, would you rather shell out money for a sporting event or a concert? And another thing popped in my head. Do you remember? Might be 10 years ago now. Do you remember that they did, like, the 25th or 30th anniversary of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they had a big concert over 2 nights in Madison Square Garden?
Yes.
Yeah. I would probably be talked into that because you're getting all of the legendary acts doing their hits. So
hits slash crazy combinations. Like, that's the part that's interesting.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's where you see. Like, is that where Prince jammed with 5 other guitarists and stole the show?
No, you're thinking of the George Harrison tribute.
That was the Harrison thing. Okay. All right. I think
he came out and does the solo on "While My Guitar Gently Weeps."
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. Okay.
He's on stage with 15 other legendary guitar players,
right,
and they're all like, "Holy shit!"
Right. Yeah.
Look at what this guy's doing.
Yeah, he's just assaulting cool. Clapton. That was
right.
That was awesome. But same basic concept though, like all-star, anybody could show up type of rock and roll event. That would be probably peak for me, like more than any sporting event. And I'm not saying I'm going to skip the sporting event, but they're all on television. TVs are nice now. Broadcasts are good. Cameras are great. HD is fun. I've got stereo surround stuff all over. Like, the home experience is great. And honestly, for concerts, I remember when Woodstock 94 happened, and we were able to not go and spend a week in the mud, but rather just sit in my friend's house and watch the whole thing. And I thought, man, this is the future. I don't want to go. I want to see all of it. I want to experience it. And I've done that with, like, Fish shows. Every now and then they'll make one of them available. Well, actually, I think all of them are available live. Like, you can just pay to watch. They call it Couch Tour, where you can either buy the whole thing or you can buy the run at Dick's or the run at the Gorge or whatever, or you can just buy an individual show. And I've done that a couple times where I was like, you know what? Like, there was a time a couple years ago when I was supposed to go to Saratoga for a show, but I couldn't go to Saratoga for the show. Instead, I just stayed home and got the show, and I said, I'm going to be left alone in the basement. I'm putting it on the projector. I'm cranking it. The fridge is full of beer, and leave me alone. I'll be available after the show. I won't be in Saratoga. That's helpful. Like, it was something about not going the next day, but it was almost as good. Like, if I had one other person hanging out that liked fish to watch it with me, it would have been cool. You miss out on the communal experience a little bit, but I got sucked into the show, and that was awesome. So, like, even that, a big part of it is, can I just watch this without going to it? And for the most part, with concerts, you can't, and with games, you can. I don't remember the last time I tried to watch a game, and it wasn't on television.
Growing up in Syracuse, you mentioned Woodstock 99. A provision for that deal getting made that they were going to do it at the old Air Force Base.
Griffiths, yeah.
In
Rome.
Was they had to allow the local radio station to broadcast it live. So I was able to listen to, I mean, some of it was on MTV, but didn't they also did the on-demand thing based pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't remember completely because I was talking about 94 and you're talking about 99, so I don't remember how it went down to 90. I mean, same basic thing, though. It was a 5-year later evolution of the whole process.
Right. And it was, I mean, I remember getting together with friends and somebody opening all their car doors in a field, and we were listening to Woodstock while sneaking any type of liquor we could find in water bottles. And it was great. So yeah, I again, I'd probably still go sporting event, but and a boxing event is so great.
Boxing's the best. Oh my God.
Boxing live is great.
Have you been to a title fight? I'm sure we've talked about this. I don't remember.
Yes. Yeah, I went to Pacquiao versus Mosley.
Yes. Okay. So both of us have seen a title fight involving Sugar Shane Mosley, although independently of one another. That's weird.
Yeah, it was, I mean, you can't, the energy and the excitement leading up to that, you can't beat. And even if you have a chance, even if it's not a title fight, like I went to ESPN at the time was doing Friday Night Fights.
Yeah.
I went to Friday Night Fights the night before in Mandalay Bay, where they basically just had there was 2 weddings and then the third ballroom. The third ballroom is
was you and Max Kellerman hanging out
the crap out of each other with Max Kellerman and Teddy Atlas. And it was great. Like, you were right on top of the action, and it's a small setting, and they went to commercial, and I just ended up meeting Teddy Atlas. He was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man? Hey, can I get a picture?" Yeah, sure.
That's awesome.
Like, whatever. Yeah. Boxing live events are fantastic. And if the bigger, the more, the more side explosions, the more things that you get with it. I mean, Friday Night Fights was fun, and then the next night, seeing Sugar Shane Mosley walk to the ring, and his ring song is "Mama Said Knock You Out" by LL Cool J.
Right.
And then the difference in this was LL Cool J was in front of him rapping live "Mama Said Knock You Out" as he's walking to the ring.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Well, I mean, the vast majority of people listening have not been to a title fight in Vegas. I recognize that. But I also think a lot of us did get to go and get a little taste of it when Joe Macy was in his prime.
Yeah.
And the electricity, I mean, that was a guy that was, I don't even know how to describe his career. I don't think anybody thought this guy's going to be the champion, but it was like, I don't know, he keeps winning. Like, this is pretty cool. But the feeling, like, I just got a chill thinking about him coming down the stairs with Thunderstruck playing when the arena is completely packed, ready to watch this guy fight a guy you've never heard of or hadn't heard of until 2 months prior when the tickets went on sale. And that's how good that was. And then I was lucky enough to briefly become kind of the Baby Joe beat reporter for GR. It was very brief because my first event where I got to travel was the one where he got hurt, and that was the Giraffe fight. But the Giraffe fight was on the undercard of the War at 154, which was Sugar Shane Mosley, who was a 3-1 or 4-1 favorite to beat Winky Wright. losing to Winky Wright, and then me running into Winky Wright at a craps table at like 4 a.m. It was the only people walking around Mandalay Bay at the time were Winky Wright and his posse and me, because I had already gone to bed, woke up at like 4. I was like, I'm at Mandalay Bay. I'm going back downstairs. And then who do I run into but Winky Wright, who had just won and had famously like bet, I don't know what it was, $1 million on himself. So he had just not only become the champion, but added $4 million to his bankroll.
Right.
And that, he was probably treating that night as he and his boys were playing craps at Mandalay. But the electricity in that building, I mean, that's I got paid to be there, so that's kind of, it's not like I'm justifying. Yeah, you should spend $1 million to go to one of these fights, but you should spend $1 million to go to a title fight in Vegas. That was at Mandalay also. And, it was like the thing you said about LL Cool J. When you're at a title fight in Vegas, and really when you're in Vegas at all, if you see somebody who you think might have been Meryl Streep, that was Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Like if you're walking down the street in Buffalo and you think you see Alec Baldwin, it was a guy who looks like Alec Baldwin. If you're in Vegas, you're like, hey, isn't that the dude from... wasn't he the neighbor on Three's Company?
Yes, it's him.
Like, yes, it's 100%. That's who that is. Everybody is here. So, like, when you are sitting there and I'm in my seat, I'm in like the, I don't know, 18th row, 21st row, something like that on the floor. And people are obviously shuffling in to much better seats than me, the high rollers. But, like, Magic Johnson just walks by, and Shaq walks by, and Barry Bonds walks by, and Robert De Niro walks by, and Jack Nicholson walks by. And it's like, where am I? What is going on? I just came here to watch my friend Joe fight some Russian. And the next thing you know, I'm hanging out in a room with those people. So, like, that's the kind of experience you can't, that is a priceless experience. Whereas Game 1 of the World Series is on TV, and I'm not spending $5,000 to go see it.
Yeah, the fight I went to, we were leaving. We were walking back. The fight was at the MGM, and walking back, basically, I think you had to cross the street.
Were you
had to
at
cross the street 'cause
indoor
we
or
were- we
outdoor
were-
MGM?
It was the arena.
Indoor, okay.
Yeah, it was indoor. And as we were walking back, we were about to walk into Luxor and Mandalay are connected.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly.
That's correct, yep.
And we were walking between the two and noticed that the person with a couple of his friends in front of us was Jeremy Renner.
Right.
And I think it was right around the time, if not right after, but right around
Hurt
the
Locker?
time that Hurt Locker, right? Like you would,
It's 08.
he's a guy that you had seen him in stuff before, but he had finally had like the big,
Right.
the big breakout role, and it was like him, and it looked like 3 or 4 of just like his boys were in Vegas for a weekend because now he had money.
Oh, yeah, that
And-
makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, and it was saw him. We were walking around Caesars and saw some of the people from Pacquiao's entourage just walking around. If you can't anymore, but at the time, very easily, if you walked by any type of sports memorabilia store and said, "Dang, that guy looks like Pete Rose."
Right. And
It
he's
was-
signing a
it
lot
was
of Pete
Pete-
Rose stuff.
Yeah, it's Pete Rose.
Yep.
Like he was always there. So
I don't remember who it was.
Those
It was.
fights, I think,
Yeah.
are the best.
It's amazing.
Exciting. Those are the easiest places to see people because everybody likes a good fight. Like
Right,
that.
right, and it's a 1 hour flight from Vegas or from LA. So anybody, I remember seeing I don't remember what the event was, but the big thing was showing maybe it was like a Tyson fight, but showing the I'm gonna call it a parking lot, but the tarmac, I guess, of the airport of all the private jets just sitting there.
Right. Yeah.
There's 600 private jets. They're all there, and they all came in just to watch this fight that could last a minute and a half long. But whatever, you got to be there. And that there is. I think that's number one on my list of like you got to be kidding me sporting events that I've attended. I've seen. I was gonna say I've seen better game. I don't know. I mean, I've seen great sporting events. I was at Ohio State, Michigan when the Buckeyes they were both unbeaten, and the Buckeyes won to go to the national title game, and they eventually beat Miami. But like that was awesome, and I don't know what we
See the
paid.
first flagship cup.
I saw the first flagship cup. Dude, did you hear about that game?
It's crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. The Bulls got intercepted, and late in the game, and then they got a 3 and out, and they still ended up scoring to win it. And then UMass still had a chance to win it, and they didn't. And it was awesome. Oh, we were there. You were right next to me. I forgot about that. Then
I was there.
we came home on the plane together. I forgot about that. Good point. All right. What else? What do we care about? Do you care about the series? Do you have a team you like? Are you going to watch regardless, just because the sport of baseball is the best?
Yeah, I'll be in and out on it.
Okay.
I'll be in and out on it. But it's game 1 is tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That helps. If Saturday game, if they're on Saturday, they're off. They're off the radar. That Saturday is for America's college football.
I understand.
What do you think? You have anything on an NBA Hall of Famer getting arrested for? cheating with the
Oh my
Mafia?
God! I can't believe we didn't do this yet. Yeah. I got a lot. I did basically the whole show on it yesterday because I woke up and I can't think of a more stimulating story, like something that hits all the things that I care about, that I want to talk about more than that. And I won't say I root for scandal, but when a good one pops up, my God, like I saw details that were boring. The update today was like, what's his name? Damon Jones. He apparently was feeding people information about LeBron's injury. And that's I guess that's a big one, but that was boring to me. The interesting part to me was Chauncey Billups is a Hall of Famer. He's a head coach in the league, and he's not just involved in basketball stuff. He's involved in poker and mob stuff, allegedly. He's presumed innocent. It's funny, they even brought that up in the press conference yesterday. Remember, these guys are presumed innocent. You're like, yeah, then why'd you arrest him? You're not presuming he's innocent. You're saying that the law presumes he's innocent, but you are presuming he's guilty, or we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So I don't know. I thought all of that was, I think it's fascinating. I think it's riveting. I already want to watch the 30 for 30 about it. I'm pumped to watch the story develop, honestly.
It's going to, I think that this very easily could lead to cracking the top open on a lot of this type of stuff. And I think the NBA is going to have to crack down hard here, because I know, we think now that these leagues are invincible, but they're not.
No.
They're not. The Black Sox scandal that happened in the early 1900s almost killed baseball. If not for Babe Ruth, baseball wouldn't be a thing. It'd be over. The CCNY point shaving scandal in that same time period in the 20s almost killed college basketball. We think, the tournament and nothing can slow this down. But when the public that watches your games starts to have in their mind that the outcomes aren't on the level, they stop watching. And the NBA's got all this money and everything else. That can be very quickly a big, big problem for them. And I think you're starting to see it, because now every little thing that happens, any little glance towards the sidelines, anybody that has a bad game, people are going to start thinking, wow, wonder if he's
On the take?
on the take.
Yeah.
On the take. And when that starts to creep into a majority of people and a majority of fans, you have a very, very big problem. And it takes a long time or something miraculous like Babe Ruth to come along and pull it out of the fire. And I don't see anybody in the NBA ready to be. The only Babe Ruth that they could possibly have right now is 41 on the way out. So they better figure this out and quick, because if this ends up being worse, they're going to lose a lot of casual fans. They're going to lose a lot of people, because they're just going to say, well, what difference does it make? These games, all right, if I am going to watch, I'm not going to watch the postseason, because most of these games are just there for betting purposes, and people are going to be on the take. As far as Chauncey Billups, the Mafia using him as a whale to lure in people so that they can sucker money out of them by having secret glasses and marked cards.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I'm almost not even angry at that.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, having small cameras underneath the cards.
Yeah, all of it. I love it.
All of it is very, very impressive, And
Well, it's Mission Impossible. It's
almost not
Ocean's
mad at that.
11. It's stuff that we treat as entertainment. It's that movie 21. It's the card counting scandal, the MIT thing.
Right.
It's the Ben Mesrick books. It's all of it. And I've been treating that stuff as entertainment for so long that when it pops up, I'm like, ooh, show me the movie. I want to watch the movie. This sounds great. It's all the stuff that I like. Before we even, I want to go back. Well, it all kind of ties together. The issue right now, to me, is that Bob Gaughan and I have talked about this for 30 years. If you wanted to fix a, let's say, football game, who are you going after? Like, who are you going to try to get? Who are you going to target? Even NFL. Let's say NFL. Who are you going after? And Bob, I think it's his contention. It's either mine or his. I don't remember who. We both kind of agree that it's special teams. Like, one of us said long snapper.
Kicker.
Long snapper, though. Long snapper makes the least money on the team. He's certainly susceptible to, now he might end up losing his job, but if you can give him the kind of money that he doesn't really care about that, and he knows he can go get another one anyway, so be it. But 2 screw-ups by a long snapper probably cost you a football game, right? I mean, usually 1 massive special teams blunder costs you a game. Anyway, the point, we don't have to debate how to do it, because that's not even the main thing anymore. With the prevalence of sports betting online, props are a thing. Props used to be a thing for the
bets,
Super Bowl
right.
only. But now you have the ability to take one player whose prop is he going to get over or under 6.5 rebounds today? And all you have to convince him to do is not get 7 rebounds. And you win. But if the word gets out, now there's way too much juice on this guy nobody normally cares about. All of a sudden, a bunch of people are betting. And this is how this all came down. I assume, at least that's my understanding, is why are there this many prop bets being placed on this guy under, and then he comes out of the game in a game in 2023. Like, red lights go off everywhere. It's not, gambling is not what it used to be, where if you want to place a $5,000 bet, you got to have $5,000 cash and walk into the Horseshoe Casino and lay it down and then convince them that you're on the up and up. It's not that anymore. You've got an app. You just do what you want to do. If you've got enough in your account, and obviously there are max bets, but if all of a sudden, all over the place, these things are popping up. Oh, and also, they didn't track that. When you walked into a casino with $5,000 and then went 3 doors down to another casino with $5,000, they didn't know yet. Maybe they did. Maybe they tried. Hey, heads up on this guy. He's really heavy on this particular team today. He's betting on, Ball State, which seems super weird, but this guy just came in and offered me $5,000 for Ball State. I took it. Heads up. Like, there had to be a whole series. Now there's just a digital record of everything that happens. We know, not I, but they know who bet what and when and where did it. Like, it's very easy to track, but it's also, there are a lot of players out there. So I don't know. It has both become more complicated, but also much simpler to track. So it's a different realm. This is not throwing of games. This is a guy saying, I won't score more than 7 points today. And how do you control that when there are, 14 NBA games in a night? I don't know.
Yeah, it's Rozier basically telling his friends, take the under because I'm going to fake an injury.
Yeah.
And not play the rest of the game. And so everything I'm going to have is going to be under. Everybody bets on the under. Massive money comes on the under, draws all the attention. And then, he fakes the injury, but never plays again the rest of the season, which to me shows that the NBA got wind of it and pulled him. And the best thing I've seen so far on this was a tweet by somebody that said, I remember when the NBA used to handle betting scandals the right way, and it's a picture of Michael Jordan playing baseball, which has never been proven, but the rumor was that he was involved in betting and they were nervous about it, so they were going to suspend him for a year and told him to go play baseball so he don't have to. Never proven. He denies it. He denied it in the documentary, but
Yeah,
what's he going to do?
of course.
Admit to it? He's not going to admit to it.
It's still fun to have that story out there, probably even for him. Whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. He still got to be Michael Jordan. Everything played out fine. Who cares he didn't have those 2 years in basketball? His legacy is the best of anyone. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
You want to briefly touch on the John Candy documentary, which we have both now seen?
Yes. I
enjoyed it. I love John Candy. Love John Candy. Love his movies. And I enjoyed, there's nothing earth-shattering in there, but I enjoyed getting to know him better and a little bit more of his background story, and obviously didn't know that his father died when he was 5 on his birthday.
Yeah, that stinks.
Which can be certainly traumatic. And then not only that, but no one ever talked about it again, which doubles the the trauma of that situation to a young kid.
Yeah.
And how that kind of impacted and how he saw everything the rest of his life. And I've said it. I don't know if I'm being annoying by saying it again. I've said it to you before. I loved as a kid John Candy, and then John Candy died, and it felt like immediately after Chris Farley came around.
Yep.
And was the next generation. And when I think about them, it makes me sad because there's an unbelievably funny movie where John Candy is Chris Farley's dad that never got made. And Farley is just a little bit, he's more physical. He was a more physical comedian, but there's absolutely no doubt that there is a through line between what John Candy did to Chris Farley and opening the door up for him. And they both kind of had similar struggles with their weight and whether or not, John Candy starts losing weight and his agent's like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop. We need you plump." And Chris Farley suffered with a lot of that as well, where he didn't know. There were some times where it made him sad, where he didn't know if he was being funny or if it was just funny because they were laughing at the fat guy. And there's a lot of similarities between the two there, but there's just, we missed out on the perfect pairing of two guys that there should have been that movie. And there's no doubt that it would have been a classic. And Farley had that lovable type of thing where you just saw him and smiled. He had the same effect on people that John Candy did. And it sucks that both of them were taken so early and robbed us of what could have been a beautiful pairing.
I will say the difference between the two is the darkness that was kind of showing through on Farley late in his career never really seemed to shine through with Candy. And even after watching the John Candy documentary called "I Like Me," is that right? I Like Me. Yeah, it's the quote from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He like they told me about the darkness. They told me about the what happened with his dad and people never talking about it and how that affected him and how all the stuff about his weight and how he wanted to be the coolest guy in the room and he wanted everybody to like him and all that's like they told me that, but I never saw it watching him. He just seemed affable and pleasant, and 99% of the documentary is that. It's just him. Like everybody's just like, yeah, it's the nicest guy I ever met. I love him. He was so great. And it took a little away from the documentary because if I'm going to spend 90 minutes with it, I'm expecting to get the darkness. I didn't need it, and I came away with it saying that was good, and I enjoyed it, and I liked it. I liked hearing. There were a ton of great stories in there because everybody loved him. But that was, they'd sit somebody new down and be like, yeah, I love John Candy. I was waiting for the one guy. It's like, John Candy stole my lunch money when I was on the bus with him in grade 8, and I don't like him. And that never showed up. Everybody liked him. I don't ever remember loving, I guess this is it's not a problem. I always liked John Candy. I never had a single thing I didn't like about him. He shows up in a movie. It's great. It's gonna, I just never processed it. He was just kind of there to me. And then watching this, I almost felt bad that I didn't love him enough or something, but he didn't know. I didn't have any impact on it. But It was very good. And also leading into it, I ran into somebody. We were at a birthday party for my wife's cousin's kid, and I was talking to like extended family, extended in-laws, and I don't remember why it even came up. But they're I know, because I was talking about playing golf with the kid from Rookie of the Year, Thomas Ian Nicholas, Henry Rowengartner, Thomas Ian Nicholas, and I was like, it was a week or two after I had played with him, and I'm talking to strangers like, oh, I've got an interesting story. I just played golf with this kid. And then somehow that led into this woman telling me that her mom was not only in the natural, but was also in planes, trains, and automobiles, and that there's some picture they have of John Candy helping her get off a train. And it wasn't a part of the movie. It was just that he, as the star of the movie, saw this woman who I don't even think she couldn't have been that old at the time. She has since passed away in her 90s. But even that, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is 87. She wasn't elderly. She's probably our age. But there's a picture they have of John Candy like reaching his hand up to help this woman's mom get off the train, and she just worships John Candy. And she's like, do you know about that documentary that's coming out? I'm like, yeah, I heard it's coming. And then I got home, and I think it was out that day or the next day or something like that. So I watched it on the heels of hearing about what a great guy he was from her limited experience with him. So I had that going into it, too. Everyone loved that dude. And that's the conclusion of it. Everyone loved that guy, and it stinks that he's not around. But that was it. So it was good, and it was pleasant. But, again, like you said, not earth-shattering or groundbreaking, but it was good. I mean, I'll watch an hour and a half on anybody like that pops up on my screen. I'm glad we're in an era where documentaries are being made about people of that level. Like, he was a star, but he's not Michael Jordan type of star. He's not Tom Cruise. He was good. He was good. He was fun. I liked him. And he grew up around here. There was, talk about a bunch of time he spent in Buffalo, which makes sense because Toronto people go to Buffalo and Buffalo people go to Toronto. But I never really think about it. But then, you see a Canadian band and they're talking about watching Eyewitness News with Irv Weinstein. And you're like, wait, you grew up in a different country. How do you know about Irv? And I don't know. There's a connection there between Toronto and Buffalo. That was a part of it, too. So, all in all, I definitely recommend it. But I haven't gone up to anybody saying, oh, my God, you have to see it. But everybody that has seen it that I've talked to is like, yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. It brought to mind, I don't know, have you ever heard the story of, I forget who tells it, but
is it Washington Irving? Because if it's Washington Irving, it's the story of the Headless Horseman.
Of Chris Farley at a Super Bowl party at John Lovitz's house.
No,
it was one of the times where Farley had gotten clean and was out, and there's a bunch of comedians, and they're all over at Lovitz's house for the Super Bowl. So they've got a big spread out there, all kinds of food. And they're all getting ready to go into this other room for the game. And Lovitz cracks on Farley, says, Jesus, Farley, leave some for the rest of us. Something along those lines where, stop taking all of the food, you're a fat guy type of thing.
Yeah.
So everybody goes in to the other room to watch the game. The game is starting. But Farley stays back, and after a couple of minutes, the game is going on, and Farley walks into the room, and he had taken a big loaf of bread, sliced it in half for a big giant sandwich, put all of the possible things that you could onto the sandwich, and then before putting the top on, put Lovitz's cat on it as well, and came into the other room with a sandwich of all the toppings and Lovitz's cat.
Wow.
And everybody turns and sees him. He goes, I'm going to eat whatever I want, Lovitz. Don't you worry about it. And they said it was one of the funniest things that they've ever seen.
Cat sandwich is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
Wow. That's good. What else do we have to do here?
I gotta pick.
You gotta make a pick
this week.
I gotta look and see if there's anything I have written down that was supposed to be addressed. No, all stuff I can do by myself. All right, what are we doing? Pick.
My pick this week. I'm staying in the MAC. The other big game in the conference this week is undefeated in conference teams. Miami, Ohio, at home in Yager Stadium against Western Michigan. I'm going to take the Red Hawks here, -1.5. I think the Red Hawks are going to win this game. They've got the better quarterback in DeQuan Finn. They got a pretty good defense that can generate pressure. And I think Western, while they have an okay quarterback, I think there's a bigger advantage for Miami. I picture this game tight, obviously, but like a 24-22 type of situation. And I think Miami is going to win this game. So I'm taking the Red Hawks against the Broncos at home in Oxford.
I like it. All right, man. We'll see you tomorrow. 1 p.m. kickoff, 12 p.m. pregame show live on the Bet 1520. And it's Kids Day at UB Stadium. I have not yet found the list of stuff. I know you were telling me, among other things, there will be a magician.
Yeah, there will be a magician. The wrestling team is going to be out there doing stuff. Here, I actually wrote it down. Let me try and find.
Good.
Let me try and find it here.
I can wait. I got time. I'm just hanging out.
My phone is going to work. While I'm looking this up, a fun reminder that how about Jarrett Patterson getting a bunch of carries last night after getting activated?
Yes.
That was fun.
That's cool. And I saw Khalil get a sack last night, too.
Right. In the fan zone, which is the field house.
Yep.
They have a magic show from noon to 12:45.
Good.
They've got a bunch of cornhole setups out there. You can dress up as a bull. There's a football skills station and a basketball shooting competition. You can get mystery boxes, which are always fun.
Yep.
They have inflatable bounce houses. There's a rock wall that you can climb. There's face painting and balloon artists. And then at the far end, you can get your first look at the this year's Buffalo wrestling team. They have a wrestle-off going on down there.
That's fun.
They're going to have some of the guys out there showing off their stuff, which is cool. A good opportunity for them to get in front of fans and say, hey, check this out. This is going to be awesome.
And I think it's the first 250 kids in get a replica Bulls jersey. So that's worth worth going early. Obviously worth going to the game, but worth going early if you're bringing kids out there because it's going to be a party inside the Murchie family field house leading into the 1 o'clock kickoff at UB Stadium. All right, Scott, we'll see you tomorrow for pregame at noon.
All right, see you.
All right, later. For Scott Wilson, it's Riter Radio. I'm Brad. We're just about out of time. I'm going to play a song and come back and wrap things up with all the other stuff I have written down that I did not get to yet. Stick with me. It's episode 195 of Riter Radio, and it looks fantastic on YouTube, at least the best it can. This is the only face I have, so that's the only one I can show you. But the graphics, the colors are all good. My shirt matches. I'm going rugby shirt. This might be the new uniform. I might take this off and hang it up like Mr. Rogers' sweater. You just wear this every day because it matches the stuff. Or maybe this is the standard. Maybe it's like once a week, or when I realize that maybe that's what it'll be. It won't be that I wear it every day. It's that when I realize I'm about to wear the same shirt on the show as I did the day before, I'll just put this on. And then you'll know. But you don't have to. It'll be fine. This is the uniform now. We'll try it. I don't know. I've got a lot of ideas. We'll see if this one sticks. All right. It's Riter Radio. Be right back. It's already 5 after 12, so you're not going to get much more out of me today. It's Friday. We're wrapping up episode 195. Thanks to Scott Wilson for being a massive part of it. Massive part of the show all the time anyway. But particularly today as we debut the new look on YouTube that I think is kind of killing it. I think we're kind of getting there, starting to look like a show. Already sounds like a show. Now it's starting to look like a show. We can do this. All right, killing that. I got a couple things I want to get to. I don't actually have the stuff open that I want to talk about. I just have things written down. I have Tyreek Hill retire ? Written down. So I'm going to try to find that story I thought I had left it open, but again, this is too many windows. You know what? I have two retire things written down. One was Aaron Rodgers, and one is Tyreek Hill. I was more offended when I saw the headline about Aaron Rodgers. It says, Rodgers plans to retire with Packers when career ends. Like, wow, aren't you still on the Steelers? This is like Fitz being on the Dolphins and showing up to play, or showing up as a fan for the Bills. He was a player in the division, Ryan Fitzpatrick. And he came to a Bills playoff game against another division rival. Bills against Patriots. And he's on the Dolphins. And I'm just like, what? Aren't you our quarterback? I thought you were playing for us. What's going on? So I was like, oh, yeah, here's Aaron Rodgers. Nobody's been talking about him because things have been calm in Pittsburgh. Here he is stirring things up. But it turns out they just asked him. He was playing against Green Bay. So leading into the game, they asked him about that situation. And the story is, whenever Rodgers is done playing, he said he's pretty sure this season with the Steelers will be his last. He wants it to end ceremoniously with the Packers in advance of Sunday's game against his old team in Pittsburgh, which makes all of this okay. This is not him just going on the McAfee show, running his mouth, talking about Green Bay while he's playing for Pittsburgh. This is reporters in Green Bay going, hey, Aaron, I remember you. You were here for a while. How are things? And then he says, I was there for 18 years. Regardless of when I hang it up, that's the bulk of my career. I'll retire a Packer and see what happens after that. I've got a lot of love for the organization and my time there. They asked this week, is it a revenge game or whatever? What do I got to be avenging here? They made me a ton of money. I grew up there, spent some of the best years of my life there. I've got nothing but love for the organization. It says the Packers almost certainly will welcome Rodgers back, just as they did for Brett Favre. Favre was inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame 2015, 1 year before going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and they retired his number 4. Yeah, of course that's going to happen. I thought it was presumptuous when I just read the headline, but I thought it was him running his mouth, and it's just him, hey, you're playing the Packers. What are your memories of playing for the Packers? And then he just answered pretty straightforward, so nothing crazy there. But those are the two I had written down. A. Rodgers, quote, I'll retire as a Packer, and Tyreek Hill, retire. So now I have to find that story because I didn't actually read that one. This is more this is more salacious because this is like he was on a podcast and he said, yeah, I might retire or something like that. And I just misspelled retire as I typed it in while the computer's working really slowly because I'm asking it to do a lot. Come on, computer. We work hard, but we play hard. Considers retirement. Here we go. Doesn't rule out retirement. Let's go with that one. After serious knee injury, Tyreek Hill doesn't rule out retirement. So I said this when he got hurt. We never root for injury. Never root for injury. But if you watch Tyreek Hill get carted off the field, I mean, there were 52 players, Dolphins, that I would have less liked to see get carted off the field. This reminds me of there's a Shane Gillis bit where he talks about for everything, even if it's not funny, there's a funniest version of it. And for every guy getting carted off the field from the Miami Dolphins story, there's a best version of it. Right? This is not, I don't want Tyreek Hill hurt, but I really don't want the other 52 guys hurt kind of situation. So maybe we saw his last play. Agent Drew Rosenhaus has said that Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill will return from a serious knee injury and play next season. Hill was more equivocal on the subject of when or if he'll play again. Hey, Siri, what's equivocal? Right now, I'm happy with being with my kids, he told former teammate Teron Armstead on the Set podcast. Said, I'm happy with the career that I've had, and I love playing football. I love it, but it takes a lot, to be the best and to stay at the top. I'm at the point now where I need to have a conversation with my mom, family, everybody. Like I said, wherever my mind is at the time, the decision to be made, but I just know right now I feel like I haven't had time to just live in the moment and just be in the moment with my family. I think that's the appropriate answer for something like that. I don't want to make any rash decisions. So, I don't know, man, is really his answer. It's not that salacious is the word I used before. It's not that big a deal. But, yeah, I can imagine if you're a pro football player and you work as hard as you do to be in shape and in prime physical condition, and then you just have it ripped out from under you, And you're like, why did I do all that work? I have to do even more work to get back to hopefully where I was before this. And I'm up there in age and my skills. I wouldn't say they're declining, but they're, it's maybe they are now if your knee is busted up. A receiver whose career is built almost entirely on speed and cutting. And that's your knee. Like I could see where your head might be swimming. You might have various ideas. It's nice to wake up and not have to go put yourself through that physical strain, I'm sure. He's probably already involved in some level of rehab, right? He's not just sitting around. But the effort it takes to get back to where he was prior to the injury, considering his age, considering the money situation, considering the fact that he's playing on a team that's not going to go to the playoffs. Work super hard to get back to that, to get back to go catch balls from Tua. Ugh. I'm not pro Tyreek Hill, but I get what he's saying here. I don't think that's him being like wild. Hey, I might be done. So both of these are wrong. I got the headline. I got sucked in by headlines. I don't think it was quite clickbait. They were legit statements being made by legit NFL stars, both of whom are approaching retirement age. Nothing crazy there. I heard someone talking, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday I was talking to Paul. And he mentioned the Akron Zips and their backup QB, and he said, and their backup Johnson. And I just thought that's a great band name. Backup Johnson. It implies so much. So I wrote that down. I wrote down New York Post headline. One of my favorite New York Post headlines of all time. Curtis Sliwa he's running for mayor, but he might not run for mayor. And he'd be on the Republican side. There's a Democrat whose name I don't know. And then there's Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent. And there is concern about Curtis Sliwa kind of messing things up as essentially being the third-party candidate, because I guess the assumption is he doesn't have a chance to win. So people are kind of pressuring him. He ended up quitting his radio talk show because one of the people pressuring him to drop out of the race is the owner of the radio station where he was doing his show. And he apparently just got up and left and said he'll never be on the station again. And it's a big story in New York. And the New York Post nailed it with a cover of him and Curtis Sliwa. Now I'm going to forget the name of the organization. Guardian Angels. He's a guy, he used to be on like the Morton Downey Jr. show in 1987 or 88, representing New York because he was like, it's kind of in the Bernie Getz era of the subways are unsafe. And he was, this is all from memory, so if I'm missing part of it, but this is the gist of, I've known Curtis Sliwa's name for a long time, and I've always known him as a guy in a red beret in New York City. Nobody wears a beret in New York City except this dude, Curtis Sliwa. So that's what he's known for, is the beret. And with him being, I won't say forced out of the race, but there's an attempt to force him out of the race for mayor in New York. The headline in the New York Post, picture of him with his red hat on. The headline is, "Just walk away, beret." Just walk away, beret. I thought that was funny. That was a good line. Good job, New York Post. Proud of you. I whipped through this because I was talking to Scott, or about to talk to Scott. I wrote this down as final thoughts. I got into it a little bit while I was waiting for Scott to call, and then he called right as I started. So I'm going to take my time on it, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Hell of a sports weekend. Hell of a sports weekend. The Bulls are playing tomorrow. That's the first thing that I'll witness in person. The only thing I'll witness in person out of all of this. But I'm going to watch the rest of it on TV because the Bills are at the Panthers on Sunday. Games 1 and 2 of the World Series are tonight and tomorrow in Toronto. And the Sabres play the Leafs tonight and tomorrow. And the Sabres are interesting. I'll put them at interesting. They're on the radar. They're scoring some goals. There's some fun storylines developing. Connor Ellis with his win the other night in his first NHL start. That was awesome. Josh Doan kind of coming on. This Zucker. There's a lot happening. So they're on the radar. I've been trying for years to get back into the Sabres. I want to. But they need to be entertaining. And so far they have been. I've watched probably 4 of the games. And they've been decent or better in all of them. And they've won 3 of them. So that's pretty good. And they're taking on the Leafs. And as was pointed out, I should find that text message. As was pointed out by my buddy Gary, the tickets, if you ever want to go see the Sabres in Toronto, it's very difficult to do. Tickets are crazy. But here is the message from Gary. Because people are geeked about the Blue Jays, a bunch of people sold their Leafs tickets for cheap on Saturday. My brother is taking my nephew up there. Should be a great vibe in that city. Yeah, that's fun. And then the story that I was going to elaborate on a little bit more, I started to. I had a recollection of a similar situation in Toronto that I was there for. It was a while ago. But I used AI and found it. Like, this is the difference between just Google, regular Google, and AI. I know it does a lot more. I know all the commercials are like, hey, you old people, you're just using AI like it's a better Google. Well, it is a better Google. It does other things too, but it is a better Google because I was able to say to AI, or I typed it in. Did I type it in? No. I just turned on my microphone and said to AI something along the lines of, when did Toronto and Ottawa play a Game 7 in Toronto at the same time that the Leafs played the Red Sox down the street? And I hit enter, and it was like, the Toronto Maple Leafs played the Ottawa Senators in Game 7 of their playoff series on April 20th, 2004. April 20th, 2004. On that same date, the Boston Red Sox played the Toronto Blue Jays at Rogers Center, which is located in the same downtown area. I remember this because I went to that game. I didn't care. I mean, I cared a little bit about Leafs Senators Game 7, but not enough to skip Pedro against Halliday when tickets were readily available. Similar situation. Nobody cared about the Blue Jays on a day that the Leafs were playing the Senators in Game 7 of the playoffs. So I went there, and it was, it's 2004, so there were some cell phones, but it wasn't this current era where, like right now, if you go to the hockey game, you're going to find everybody with the Blue Jays game on their phones, right? Or at least a game cast of it, at least getting text updates, something. It's going to be very easy to communicate. But this time, 21 years ago, it wasn't that simple, but there was some information. So basically, it was, I'm at Skydome watching a baseball game, but there are people like in suites with televisions. And if the Leafs would score, word would trickle down, and all of a sudden you'd hear the place erupt, but not all at once. It was in pockets, because up in the suites, they'd go nuts because the Leafs just scored. And then the people near the suites would notice, and they'd start cheering. And they'd be like, I think it's coming from that. They must have scored. And people would cheer. It was just a really bizarre way to watch a baseball game when everyone there cared about a different game that was going on right down the street. You could see the Air Canada Center at the time from Skydome at the time. And everyone was watching the wrong game. But it was cool. But you can do that in reverse. It works for you as a Sabres fan if you care less. It's not going to be at the same time. But there probably aren't going to be a lot of people that are going to use their Blue Jays tickets and then leave the game early to get to the hockey game. It's I think a 5 o'clock and a 7 o'clock, or maybe a 5 and an 8. 5 and 8. So it is feasible. You could do it, but you're going to be standing in line for a while getting into that hockey game. Can you imagine the line getting in? I mean, anyway, right before a game, it's going to be crazy. But now add in, there's a Blue Jays game, or excuse me, I'm doing it backwards. Hockey games first. So in this case, the hockey game's happening, and then you leave the hockey game, and now you can get to the baseball game, but it's going to be a zoo getting into the baseball game. It's going to be a zoo anyway. It's game 1 of the World Series. It's in Toronto. That's the first time they've had it in 32 years, so that makes sense. The baseball game I went to very early in the season, obviously, April 20th. It allowed the Red Sox to improve to 8-5, while the Blue Jays dropped to 3-10. Listen to the players involved in this game. Now, keep in mind, it's 2004, So it's the Red Sox team that would break the curse. So these are all the right guys. But the lineup for the Red Sox that day was Johnny Damon, Bill Miller, David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, Kevin Millar, Jason Varitek, Mark Bellhorn, Gabe Kapler, Pokey Reese. The pitchers were Pedro Martinez, and then in relief, Scott Williamson and Keith Folk. So that's the 04 team. Like, that's, even though it's April and they didn't win it until October, or maybe November, probably October. That's the team. That's the core of the team. It's the team that had just lost on the Aaron Boone home run the year before, and they were ready to go. Terry Francona was in, and it was time. Blue Jays lineup a little less impressive. Reed Johnson, Frank Catalanato, Vernon Wells, Carlos Delgado, Josh Phelps, Eric Hinsky, Kevin Cash, Orlando Hudson, Chris Woodward. But pitching was Roy Halladay. So I saw Halladay against Pedro at a game that nobody in Toronto wanted to attend because there was a hockey game down the street. Pretty cool. Just a little flashback thing. Realized the Sabres were playing up there at the same time. Went, hey, that sounds familiar to me. Looked it up, and hey, I'm right. That might be it. That might be everything I've written down. Flag background plus orange shirt equals NASA. Tyreek Hill retire. Aaron Rodgers retire as a Packer. Marineland, Wales. I've been planning on talking about the whales at Marineland for a week and a half, and I haven't gotten to it, and it's 12:23, and I'm not going to look up that story and do it right now. But maybe Monday we'll talk about Marineland and whales. Marineland is not open, but they still have whales, and they're threatening to euthanize the whales if they don't get subsidized. Maybe everything will be made fine in Canada if the Jays can beat the Dodgers a couple times. Well, 4 times, really. That seems like a weird struggle and argument. We've got 30 whales. You got to help us. I feel like you could put the whales somewhere else. I don't know how you transport whales. All right, I'm going to look this up. I'm not going to find the whole story, but I am now curious about how do you transport whales. All right, let's see. I mean, I would imagine there is a crane or a helicopter, like a canvas, a net. I don't know. How would you transport a whale? AI mode. We're going to find this out. We're going to get to the bottom of how to transport whales. I'm not going to get into the actual story. How would someone transport a whale? How would a zoo transport a whale? I said it. Why aren't you listening to me? All right, do you want me to type it? Oh, here we go. The transportation of a whale is a complex, large-scale operation. No kidding. Requiring specialized equipment. Yeah. Expert animal handlers and extensive planning. Thanks. Thanks, AI. Right. That's why I asked. The transportation of a whale is a complex, large-scale operation requiring specialized equipment. Come on. All right, it's going to get better. We'll get more detail in just a second. I have to get this ready. Sorry. All right, truth detector on how to transport whales. Zoos and aquariums use 2 primary methods depending on the whale's size and the distance of the journey. Dry transit in a supported sling or wet transit in a large tank. Yeah, I'll say. All right, moving a whale, preparation. We're going to end with this. We're going to close with how to transport a whale. You didn't know you wanted to know, but you do want to know, don't you? And by the way, hearing supported sling, dry transit supported sling, sounds to me like I'm right about either a crane or a helicopter. If you were just trying to move a whale from one zoo or aquarium across the street to another zoo or aquarium, I would imagine you'd treat it like when the 600-pound man who lives in the apartment needs to go to the doctor and they take out the wall and they bring in the crane. I would imagine it'd be like that. But how do you move a whale from Niagara Falls, New York, or Niagara Falls, Canada to, say, Orlando? Like, how would you do that? Let's find out together. Moving a whale begins long before it ever leaves the water. All right, go on. The process can take months and involves a large team of specialists, including veterinarians, trainers, and engineers. They got some bullet points here. Conditioning. The whale is conditioned to enter a transport sling or container willingly, reducing stress on the day of the move. All right, they have to train it to enter a sling or container. Fasting. For about 24 hours before the move, the whale is fasted to prevent it from regurgitating during transport. Ooh, yeah. You imagine that? Whale in a sling regurgitating? Is it raining? No. What is that in the sky? Permits. Yeah, you definitely want to pull some permits before you start moving whales. Government regulatory agencies must approve detailed transport permits, which can take into account the animal's physical and emotional health. All right, extraction and loading. We've got 2 bullet points here. Slinging. A crane is used to lift the whale from its pool using a custom-fitted, heavy-duty fabric sling. The sling is designed to support the whale's body evenly and has cutouts for its fins. That's nice. Container placement. The whale is carefully lowered into a specialized foam-padded transport container. The container is then secured onto a flatbed truck or cargo plane. Whew. A cargo plane with a container containing a whale. How impressive are planes? You probably just have no people. I'm trying to think like a football team. What's a football team weigh compared to not even close. Whale's nothing. A whale is an offensive line, right? I don't know what a whale weighs. All right, transportation methods. All right, we've got transportation methods, then we've got transit routes, then we've got post-transit, and then we'll stop. We'll stop at the show. But you're learning something today. You're sticking around to learn about whales, right? How do you transport a whale? None of your friends know either. So you can use this at happy hour. You can use this at your tailgate party. Impress your friends with your knowledge of how to transport whales. As presented here on Riter Radio, episode 195. All right, dry transit. In this method, the whale is moved in a sling inside a transport container with only a small amount of water to keep its skin moist. This is a common method for air travel. Moisture and temperature control. During the journey, attendants constantly spray the whale with water or apply a lanolin-based ointment, lanolin, to prevent its skin from drying or chafing. The ambient temperature is carefully controlled to prevent overheating. Good idea. There's also veterinary monitoring. A team of vets and animal care experts, I would say that's redundant, accompanies the whale, continuously monitoring its breathing, temperature, and overall health. Weight support, that's a big one. The sling and limited water provide just enough support to simulate the animal's buoyancy in water while still being a manageable load for transport. Then there's wet transport. That one seems easy. You just lead them somewhere. For some journeys, especially shorter ones, a whale may be moved in a larger container filled with water. Oh, I really thought this just meant guiding him. All right, we're going to leave this here. We're going to take the river. I know you like salt water better, but soon we'll get to salt water. Just swim. Just follow me. Follow me to freedom. Willie? Two different... wait. For short ones, a whale may be moved in a larger container filled with water. Full submersion. With wet transit, a whale is suspended in a large tank of water during transport. Reduce stress. This method more closely approximates the whale's natural environment, potentially reducing stress. This feels totally normal until I look down. Can whales look down? I don't know. I don't know if whales can look down. Probably not. But it's fun to picture. This feels just like home. Everything's cool. Is that the CN Tower that we're above? What's going on here? Transit routes. Here we go. Once loaded, the whale can be transported via truck or aircraft. I'm going to take a brief moment to say, I think the next time I see an oversized load driving down the road, I'm going to wonder if it's a whale. It probably isn't a whale, but I'm now wondering if I've ever seen a whale on the thruway. Just throwing that out there. All right. Once loaded, the whale can be transported via truck or aircraft. Truck. Large flatbed trucks are used to move the transport containers over land. Air. For long distance or international transports, specialized cargo planes such as a Boeing C-17 are chartered. In a famous case, the killer whale Keiko of Free Willy fame, Keiko, was airlifted in a U.S. Air Force plane. Companies like FedEx also have experience with this type of delivery. Of course they do. Post-transit, there's acclimation and observation. Acclimation, once at the new location, a crane lifts the transport container and carefully lowers the whale into its new habitat. And then there's observation. The whale is closely monitored for weeks or months to ensure it is fully acclimated to its new environment. We learned something today, didn't we? People always ask, what are some whale transport challenges? I would say all of them. What are some whale transport challenges? What kind of absurd question is that? Name an easy thing about transporting a whale. How are transport containers designed? What are the main differences between dry and wet transit? I think we're done. I think that's enough. Is there anything crazier than the fact that we as humans have come up with a way to transport whales? Like, is there anything that flips off nature more than putting a whale on or underneath a plane? That's crazy talk. We're crazy. We're all crazy. This stuff we do is insane. We can move whales? All right, I'm done. It's 12:32. The show ended 32 minutes ago. If you're still listening, good for you, and thanks. If you are a standard audio listener from day one or day 101 of Riter Radio, we are migrating over to the YouTube thing. The Mixler thing will keep running, but I'm concentrating on the YouTube version. So there will be times when you get kind of forgotten about or left behind a little bit because I'm focusing on the video part. Audio is still going to be there. It's still going to be there in audio form after it ends. But if you like the live thing, I recommend the live stream at youtube.com/@WriterRadio. And you should subscribe to that. You should also subscribe to Mixler and Spotify and anywhere you see Riter Radio pop up. It's helpful if you don't just click on it and watch it or listen to it, but you also subscribe, share it, all the things that people tell you to do. I've got it all written down on the scroll at the bottom of the screen, but we're not at that part right now. Right now it's talking about it being brought to you by Brian Janik at thefinancialguys.com, the band Marah from Philadelphia, Hot Dogs, and the 1986 New York Mets. Thank you for listening and watching all week long. I hope you like the new fancy stuff we got going on here on the video feed. Let me know. Contact me. You can text 716-288-5246. You can also leave voicemails there. The intention of that phone number is so that while we don't really take live calls on the air, although we could at some point, that's the place where you can add your voice to the show. And I'm doing my best to focus on the video part and the contact part and making this all one big happy thing. We're nearing 200 episodes or 100 episodes of doing the show from home. And it's definitely improving. It's definitely getting there. But I still need to get a perfect system where when you're talking to me, I notice it. There's a messaging function within the Mixler app, but I don't have that open now. I've decided to leave the YouTube screen open, and there's a messaging thing in there. And that got some activity today. So he asked, what zoos have whales? All right, fine. I'll look that up. What zoos have whales? I'll do that. I'm ready to leave. What zoos have whales? Got a list of captive orcas as of February 2019. Zoos and aquariums with whales in captivity include the 3 SeaWorld parks, San Diego, Orlando, and San Antonio, the Georgia Aquarium, Mystic Aquarium, wherever that is, and the Shed Aquarium. They hold orcas and belugas. Other locations globally are listed on the Wikipedia entry for captive orcas, which is right down here. All right, if you want to see whales, where can you go? As of August 18th of this year, here's how captive orcas are spread around the world. 24 in the Western world, 6 in Japan, 25 in China and Russia equals 55 orcas. Captured/rescued. 5 in the Western world, 1 in Japan, 18 in China and Russia for a total of 21. Captive, this is breaking it down. So it's 55 total. 24 of them were captured or rescued. 31 of them were born in captivity. So there are 19 in the Western world, 5 in Japan, 7 in China and Russia. So 31 have been born in captivity, 24 were captured/rescued. You could go either way. I don't need to know the individual breakdown on each story. But there we are. That's about where they are. You want to go to China or Russia, you got a real good chance of running into some orcas. 24 in the Western world, 6 in Japan, 25 in China and Russia. There you go. We're learning stuff. We're learning about whales today. You didn't know that was coming, did you? How do you like my rugby shirt? Should I wear this shirt every day? Should I wear rugby shirts every day? Should I turn this show into a show about rugby shirts? I mean, it wouldn't be only about rugby shirts. It would just be rugby focused. Should have Ben Turnbull on. He's our rugby correspondent. We've never talked about rugby shirts. In all of our conversations about rugby shirts have never come up. The next time he's on, we'll talk rugby shirts. It's just quite the coincidence that as rugby shirts happen, I realize, or as they come up in conversation, I realize I've got one that matches the backdrop of the whole show. Color scheme's good. I threw on a Bulls hat here right at the end. I was hatless for most of the show, but go Bulls. They're taking on Akron tomorrow, looking to improve to 4-0 in conference. And again, for those of you who don't really follow the MAC, 2 teams, the top 2 teams out of the 13 after the regular season play for the championship. There are no more divisions. So you're just trying to be at the top of the standings in the conference. Right now the Bulls are one of 3 3-0 teams. The Bulls play Akron tomorrow. The other 2 3-0 teams play each other. So if the Bulls win tomorrow, they will be in one of those top 2 slots. It'll be 2 teams. There will be 2 unbeaten teams. Either 2 or 1 after tomorrow. Miami plays Western Michigan. One of them wins. UB plays Akron. If UB wins, they'll be 4-0. Whoever wins, Miami and Western, will be 4-0. And those will be the 2 teams at the top of the conference. Before the season, we said watch out for 4 teams. Western Michigan was not one of them. But everything is so even this year that who knows? Miami was one of them. UB was one of them. Ohio has fallen off a bit. Actually, they've only got 1 loss. And Toledo struggling a bit as well. So big day in the MAC as the Bulls try to get set themselves up to cruise into Detroit. The games keep getting harder. We talked about this on the UB football podcast, which is now available. It just posted at 11 o'clock. I didn't want to tell you about it then and have you go listen to that instead of this. But if you go look for the UB Bulls Insider podcast, the latest episode is Scott Wilson and myself, talking about the UMass game that was and the Akron game that's coming up tomorrow. So go check that out. That is live at the UB Bulls Insider podcast feed. That's it. I'm done for real. No, I'm not. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm gonna skip it. There's a story that I didn't do because I felt like there was information missing 2 days ago. And then, yeah, there sure was. And there's a bunch more. And maybe the developments will continue over the weekend. But that's the screen that is acting up on me. I'm going to give it like 5 seconds. If it pops up, cool. Otherwise, no. See, I thought I put a nice bow on it. Now I'm going to end on a sad thing. Did you hear about Doug Martin, the ex-running back for the Buccaneers? He died a couple days ago, and they said it was being investigated. There was just something weird about the way the story was written. It's like the Buccaneers came out with a statement about he'll be missed, and there was just something shady about it. The headline now is ex-NFLer Doug Martin jumped out of a second-floor rehab center window in suspected psychotic episode months before death. Oh, this isn't what killed him. Okay. Former NFL star Doug Martin had shown signs of a person in crisis months before an incident on Saturday that led to his detainment by Oakland police, where he later died. His death is under investigation after Oakland police allege he broke into a neighbor's home during a mental health-related episode and later died after he struggled with responding officers. The former Bucs and Raiders running back had shown signs that something was wrong earlier, according to a report from the San Francisco Chronicle, during an incident that led to Martin being placed on a 72-hour psychiatric hold. They obtained a copy of a police report from August 13th, an incident at the Tranquility Rehab Center in Castro Valley, California. Martin checked himself into the facility and tested positive for cocaine and methamphetamine while also possessing fentanyl and a hunting knife. It was August 13th that painted the most vivid picture of what he was going through in the months ahead of the tragic death on Saturday. According to the report, a clinical supervisor arrived at the rehab center to find Martin dancing with blood on his hands and face in the front driveway around 9 a.m. Supervisor called for authorities, telling them that the ex-NFL star had been experiencing a psychotic episode, and investigated whether Martin had jumped out of his second-floor window, having to force her way into his room and finding the window was open and a screen pushed out, per the report. Martin was described as extremely paranoid, though compliant with deputies, and when they asked if he was armed, he replied, "Kinda." The situation escalated when deputies told Martin that they had to pat him down before paramedics could look at him, which led to a struggle between deputies and Martin as the officers tried to grab his wrist to handcuff him. At one point, Martin hit the hand of one of the deputies, which led to the deputy punching Martin twice in the nose and mouth during the chaotic scene. Deputies were eventually able to pin Martin down to handcuff him and found 3 small bags of cocaine in his pocket and a 12-inch chef's knife in his backpack. Since he had apparently jumped from his second-story window, the deputies were able to place him in a 72-hour psychiatric hold since they deemed him a danger to himself, which they can do under state law. Martin's family said in a statement following his death that he battled mental health challenges that profoundly impacted his personal and professional life. Ultimately, mental illness proved to be the one opponent from which Doug could not run, the statement read. It also said Doug's parents were actively seeking medical assistance for him and had contacted local authorities for support. Feeling overwhelmed and disoriented, Doug fled his home during the night and entered a neighbor's residence 2 doors down, where he was taken into custody by police. An investigation into what transpired as he was detained is underway. So there's the happy little ending to the 195th episode of Riter Radio. I knew there was something missing from the Doug Martin story. He died, and I almost pointed out, hey, this guy, he was kind of, I don't want to say flash in the pan makes it sound like it's a negative, but just kind of out of nowhere, there was this star running back in Tampa named Doug Martin for a few years. And then he went away and apparently had lots of problems afterward, and he has since passed away. But that is a CTE. Are we going to, I'm guessing this is a candidate for sure for, donating the brain to science. You can be mentally ill without playing football, so that's also a possibility, but CTE certainly has to be looked at in this case, right? Okay. That was such a fun show, and then it ends with Doug Martin being dead. And, it being a really sad story, too. I liked when we ended on transporting whales. I should have done that. I should have stopped. What am I doing? It's 12:44. I should stop. This thing's going to shut off. I only get 3 hours a day. All right, we're done. Thanks for listening, writing, following, subscribing, all the stuff you do. Much appreciated. I'll talk to you on Monday with episode 196 of Riter Radio.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
I don't know. Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?